I remember in junior high once being told by a girl, we need to talk. And that is never a good thing. And so, yes, we broke up. I don't remember her name. Doesn't matter. The point is, certain things that are said crystallize in your mind, and you remember those things. Another one that I remember is having talked about, this is about 10 years ago or so, talking about Carol Dweck and her work with growth mindset, and a parent telling me, growth mindset, I don't need growth mindset. I need my kids to get A's. So that punched me kind of the same way, which was, I think we might be missing the point. So here we are. We're about 20 years after Carol Dweck began her research. We're about 10 years past the book Growth Mindset, or Mindset, being published. And it has entered and permeated our conversation in such an awesome way, such a rich way. And here recently, they have had some pushback against it, and then Carol Dweck has had to come back out and kind of clarify. And so today what I want to talk about is, what is growth mindset? Just give a quick debrief. But then really, too, I think that George Couros, is the book that I'm holding here, has an excellent answer for how to find some synergy between the two ideas. So first of all, what is growth mindset? And man, this research has been around for a while, even before Carol Dweck. Just the idea of attribution theory and where do we attribute our characteristics? Is it almost like a locus of control? Is it internal? Do we say, I can do this, right? This is on me. I can, if I work harder. Or is it external? Like, well, it's not my fault. I was born into the wrong family, or I'm just not that good at math. I'm just not a math person. Or chance luck. Those are all external parts. So this locus of control is telling me, is it inside or is it outside? And so Carol Dweck really brought to light with growth mindset that when we are praising kids, our own kids or students, athletes, doesn't matter, when we're praising them on things that are outside of their locus of control. So for example, if we say, you are so smart, or you are so beautiful, or you're so good in soccer, we're just saying these positive things as well-meaning, intentioned people. But really, we're praising something that is outside someone's ability to control it. So what happens to the soccer player who you've said, you're so good at soccer, and then poof, they lose a game? Well, what happened? I thought they were good at, I was supposed to be good at soccer. And so her book, again, Dweck's book, Mindset, covers business leaders, sports, students, same idea. You're so smart. Kid comes back with a lower grade. They say, I thought you said I was smart. Clearly this is beyond me. I can't do this, and they're likely to give up. However, the takeaway is really this from the book. If we praise those attributes that are within our internal locus of control, so if I say, I can see that you worked really hard, or I could say, I see you're not there yet, but if you keep working, we can get there. That gives me something that I can actually control. Oh, the amount of work that I'm putting into it, the amount of effort that I'm putting into it, that has dictated the final product, and so I can now work harder. Which again creates a lot of psychosocial skills, resiliency, grit, being able to deal with failure. The pushback, you can kind of guess, comes this way. So if I just tell a kid over and over again, if you work really hard, you can do it. Well, it does a disservice to those things that sometimes are innate, or some things that are outside of our control. I want to be careful how I enter this conversation, but probably the easiest one, just to use a sports analogy, is that, I mean, gosh, if you're, I don't mean any offense to anybody, but if you're born and you're, 4 feet tall, it's not in your best interest for me to tell you if you work really hard, you can be in the NBA. Once again, if you're 3 feet tall and I say if you just work really hard. But again, I have to walk carefully here, because you could say I want to play basketball, and you could be a basketball player. I just want to make sure that you have matched expectations that are also reasonable. So the pushback really came with kids in poverty, and the question is, man, they're born into these circumstances that you just can't, wish yourself out of. And so is it enough to tell kids, like, if you work hard, then you can get out of this cycle, you can break this thing? So again, you can see the growth mindset, you can see the counter to it, and let me stay inside the counter one more second and also say, if teachers just say, don't worry, Timmy, I know you don't understand this math, you don't understand algebra yet, but if you work really hard, you can get there. But then they don't actually teach you any of the psychosocial skills, or they don't actually teach you any of the content, and they don't work with you, then you're doing a disservice. So you can kind of see the pushback, which is, you'll find schools that say, oh yeah, we have a growth mindset. which means that we tell all the kids that they can do it, but then you find that they're not actually helping the kids that get there. Because again, no amount of saying like, I can do this, I can do algebra, without actually, paying attention in class or having an algebra tutor or getting good lessons, I'm never going to get to that spot. So anyway, that's the part. And Carol Dweck couples that in her response to the lashback. Her response was, well, I've never intended this to be a cure-all. I intended this to be, you still have to teach the kids, and you still have to work with people that are struggling to get there. So yeah, like you said, it's very rich dialogue still inside of our culture. And I just don't think that either of those, either the naysayers or Carol Dweck's rebuttal, I don't think either of those fully capture what George Couros just really quickly put inside the innovator's mindset. So, quick plug, George Couros, administrator, great guy. I had a chance to watch him speak. The book is Innovator's Mindset, Empower Learning, Unleash Talent, and Lead a Culture of Creativity. So coming full circle back to the mom who said, I don't need growth mindset, I need my kids to get A's. I think he really answered that by saying, adopt an innovator's mindset. So I'm just going to quote a little bit here. So he says in this chapter, adopt an innovator's mindset, talking about Carol Dweck, a Stanford psychologist, author of the powerful book Mindset, The New Psychology of Success, encourages educators to introduce students to the concept of a growth mindset. She explains that teaching children the difference between a fixed and growth mindset empowers them. So again, you can see the argument there. In a fixed mindset, students believe their basic abilities, their intelligence, their talents are all fixed. They have a certain amount, and that is it. In a growth mindset, students understand that their talents and abilities can be developed through effort, good teaching, there's the good teaching part coming back up, and persistence. They don't necessarily think everyone's the same or anyone can be Einstein, but they believe that everyone can get smarter if they work at it. Now, he says, that's all fine and dandy, right? But what about the innovator's mindset? And so I'm going to kind of leave you with this hashtag knowledge drop to be thinking about what this means. So the innovator's mindset simply says, belief that abilities, intelligence, and talents are developed, so you see the growth part wrapped inside there, they are developed so that they can lead to the creation of new and better ideas. Again, I'll leave you with that kind of thought. So once again, is it about fixed? No. Even George Couros is saying, let's go with the growth aspect. We know that if we work at something, we may not become Einstein, but we can get smarter if we work at it. However, and here's the quote, we must focus on creating something with the knowledge that has been acquired. And I just love that entry point because, again, if you have this idea that abilities can grow and you can move with them, that's great. But does that really move you into the part of being innovative and creative if you're not creating for somebody else or to make the world a better place? So I'll leave you with this last piece. It says, it's from the New York Times, How to Get a Job at Google. It says, Google attracts so much talent that it can afford to look beyond traditional metrics like GPA. For most young people, though, going to college and doing well is still the best way to master the tools needed for many careers. Beware, your degree is not a proxy for your ability to do any job. The world only cares about and pays off on what you can do with what you know. It doesn't really care how you learned it. Which brings back his argument, which is belief that abilities, intelligence, and talents are developed so that they can lead to the creation of new and better ideas. What do you think? Growth mindset? Is it the best thing to enter education in the last 20 years? Is it the antithesis to good teaching? Is it slowing us down? Is it doing a disservice to kids that are in scenarios or situations that they have no control over? Innovator's mindset. Is it time to look beyond just our own ability to grow these talents and really say, what are we doing with them? Looking forward to your comments, looking forward to your feedback, and hashtag knowledge drop.